Have you ever sat down and actually tried to figure out where your money goes? Not in a budgeting app kind of way. I mean, genuinely sat down with a pen and a piece of paper and tried to make the numbers make sense. And then discovered that the numbers, no matter how carefully you run them, do not make sense. You earn more than your parents did at your age. You know that. Adjusted for years, you earn more in raw dollars. And yet somehow they bought a house at 26, and a car with cash, and still had money left at the end of the month. And you are, what? Budgeting your grocery shop and wondering whether the gym membership is a luxury you can actually afford. And people keep telling you that your generation just spends too much, that if you cut back you would be fine, that it is a discipline issue. And somewhere inside you, quietly, persistently, something says, I don't think that's it. That feeling is correct, and today we are going to prove it, with the actual numbers, from actual verified data. Because once you see what $1,000 did in 1995 versus what it does now, you will not just understand why money feels different. You will understand why the rules your parents followed cannot produce the same results for you. And then we are going to talk about what actually works instead. You are not imagining it. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, goods and services across the board are up 25% from 2020 through 2025 alone. But that headline number hides something much more damaging underneath. Because inflation has not hit everything equally. It has hit the things that young adults need most: housing, education, healthcare, transportation, at 2 to 3 times the rate of general inflation. The things your parents could afford in their 20s have gotten dramatically more expensive. The things that stayed cheap, streaming, electronics, fast food, are the things they tell you to cut. The math was always going to be harder for you. And today we are going to show you exactly how much harder. But this is not just about being depressed about the economy. I want to show you what specifically happened to $1,000, because the breakdown of where purchasing power went tells you exactly which direction to run in. Stay with me. Let's take $1,000 and go shopping. First in 1995. Then now. Category 1. Rent. In 1995, the average monthly rent in the United States was approximately $550. Your $1,000 covered it, with $450 left over. In 2026, the national median rent sits above $1,400 a month. Your $1,000 covers about 70% of 1 month's rent. You still owe $400, same $1,000. In 1995, it paid the rent and left you breathing room. Now it doesn't cover the rent. Category 2. A used car. In 1995, $8,400 bought you a reliable used vehicle. That $8,400 was achievable, approximately 8 months of savings on an entry-level salary. Jake's dad did exactly that, saved for 8 months on a warehouse wage, paid cash, drove away. Jake is 24 in 2026. He has been saving for 14 months. A comparable used car, reliable, entry-level, same position in the market as what his dad bought, now costs between $14,000 and $18,000. Category 3. A semester of education. In 1995, the average cost of a full year at a public 4-year university was approximately $3,800. 1 semester, $1,900. In 2026, the average annual cost of a public 4-year university, tuition and fees only, not room and board, is over $11,600. 1 semester, $5,800. Your $1,000 paid just over half a semester in 1995. Today, it pays about 17% of one. The same $1,000 that covered a month of rent in 1995 cannot cover it now. The car your dad saved for in 8 months takes your generation over a year. The semester that cost $1,900 now costs $5,800. This is not lifestyle inflation. This is structural. And the people telling you to cut your avocado toast are not looking at the same numbers you are. Okay, but why? Why have the things that matter most gotten so much more expensive? Because understanding the why tells you what to do about it. Inflation is the gradual increase in prices over time. In theory, wages rise with it. In practice, for most workers, they haven't, at least not at the same rate. And not for the same things. From 1979 to 2020, The productivity of U.S. workers rose by 61%. Workers produced more, created more value. And over the same period, wages for most workers rose by just 17%. The economy got dramatically more productive. The people doing the work saw a fraction of that gain. Meanwhile, housing, education, and healthcare, the three categories that shape whether you can build a stable life, are not purely market goods. They are heavily influenced by policy, restricted supply, and institutional decisions that have been compounding against you for decades. Housing supply in the U.S. has not kept pace with population growth since the 1970s. Not because materials are unavailable, because zoning laws, planning restrictions, and the political interests of existing homeowners who benefit from rising prices have consistently blocked new supply. College tuition has risen over 1,200% since 1980. At the same time, federal student loan availability expanded dramatically, meaning universities could raise prices knowing students had access to loans, regardless of whether those loans made financial sense. None of this is an accident. None of it was inevitable. And none of it was your decision. $1 in 2000 now requires $1.87 to buy the same things. That's an 87% cumulative inflation over 26 years. And the categories that cost you the most, housing, education, healthcare, inflated faster than that. You are running on a treadmill that has been set faster than your parents' version was, and nobody mentioned that when they handed you the advice they used on theirs. Sophie did the maths, and I want to share it with you because it is one of the most clarifying and quietly heartbreaking calculations I have seen someone do. Sophie is 26. She works in marketing in Chicago and earns $52,000 a year. Her parents bought their first home in the same city in 1996 for $124,000. That home is now worth $385,000. Sophie sat down and calculated what she would need to buy a comparable home today. A standard 20% deposit on $385,000 is $77,000. After rent, food, transport, and student loan payments, Sophie saves approximately $280 a month. At $280 a month, to save $77,000 would take her 23 years. She will be 49 before she has the deposit her parents had at 28. Sophie does not buy avocado toast. She made a spreadsheet. She checked it 3 times. The maths is not wrong. The system is. But here is where I refuse to leave you in the frustration. Because the question is not, is it harder? It obviously is. The question is, given that it is harder, what actually works? The honest answer is, the same things that have always beaten inflation over time, just accessed differently. Move 1. Broad market index funds. The U.S. stock market has returned an average of approximately 7% per year after inflation over the past century. Not every year, some years it drops, some years it soars, but over a 20 to 30-year period, it has consistently outpaced inflation by a meaningful margin. You do not need a broker. You do not need thousands of dollars. Apps like Fidelity, Vanguard, and Charles Schwab allow you to start investing in a total market index fund with as little as $1. You set up an automatic weekly contribution, even $25, and leave it alone. The market compounds it over time. According to NerdWallet's data, the stock market has historically posted returns of around 10% annually, about 7% after adjusting for inflation. At that rate, $100 invested monthly from age 25 becomes approximately $262,000 by age 65, from a total contribution of $48,000. The market did the rest. Move 2. Increase what you earn, specifically and strategically. The most powerful inflation hedge available to someone in their 20s is not a savings account. It is their own earning capacity. Because income, once raised, changes every number in your financial life simultaneously. A $5,000 salary increase at 26, compounded over a 35-year career with modest annual raises, adds over $280,000 in lifetime earnings. The same $5,000 invested in an index fund over 35 years becomes approximately $53,000. Skill development, salary negotiation, strategic job moves. These are not soft career advice. They are the highest return financial moves available to someone at your stage of life. You cannot outspend inflation by giving up coffees. The categories that are eating you, housing, education, healthcare, don't care about your latte budget. What actually works is building assets and earning more. Different game entirely. Start today. Go to fidelity.com or vanguard.com today. Open a free account. Set up an automatic transfer of $25 a week into a total market index fund, FZROX at Fidelity or VTSAX at Vanguard. You will spend more than $25 this week on things you won't remember. This is $25 that works while you sleep, compounding quietly, beating the inflation that is eroding your cash every single year. Sophie's calculation is real. The frustration is valid. The system is harder than it was. But harder does not mean impossible. It means different rules for a different game. Your parents followed the rules of their game. You need the rules of yours. And the rules of your game, at their core, are build assets, grow your income, and start earlier than feels necessary. You just started. Right now. Today. That is earlier than most people ever get. Next video, we are going somewhere that is going to make you look at your bank account differently. Because while you have been depositing your money, your bank has been running a very specific business model. And part of that business model depends on you staying exactly where you are. We are going to change that. Quick note before you go. Everything in this video is for educational purposes only and is not financial advice. All statistics come from verified public sources, including U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics CPI Data 2025, Experian 5-Year Credit Trends 2026, College Board Trends in College Pricing 2025, Economic Policy Institute Wage Growth Data, NerdWallet U.S. Inflation Calculator, Bureau of Labor Statistics. For advice specific to your own situation, please speak to a qualified financial advisor.